What up, what's going down, everybody? Listen, I'm super excited to be here again. You know your boy AT. I had to come in the building with important people talking about important things. Welcome to the Sharks of Real Estate Podcast. I got some special people here today. I kicked it off with one of these people. The other one been in my life forever and helped your boy start all of this stuff. So it's going down. We're going to drop some gems. We're going to drop some information. I got to tell you, Speaker Box Media has been very important in your boy's life from the beginning, almost since inception. And I'm going to tell you something else. Next, Home Elite Advisors. That's my home. That's my place I call home. I have both of the owners here. Ray Smith, Derek Wells, welcome to the podcast. Turn Up is going down.
What's up?
Man,
Thank
I'm
you
excited.
for having us, man.
Yeah, so I'm going to tell y'all something. I'm going to jump right in. Something that y'all don't know about Speaker Box Media and Ray Smith is they are the people behind the lens, behind all this podcast stuff, all this stuff you see me doing on social media, whether it's small videos, 2 minutes, 3 minutes, or the big videos that we do. Ray, his wife Sarah, they run Speaker Box Media and they make it happen. So I want to just dive right in because, man, you never get on camera. So I'm excited about this moment. Don't be nervous because you know I'm going to talk it up. You know what I'm saying? I just want to, how did you even say, you know what, Ray, myself, Sarah, I want to do something in the social media or in the media space, period, and just jump out there? Because you just jumped out the porch.
Yeah. So you got to go back. Even before I was in media, I was doing hip hop. I was doing music. I was
part two.
Yeah,
I know.
Yeah, I got several stage names I had in the rap days. But when you're coming up as an artist, to save money, essentially, you got to do your own media,
exactly,
or pay someone. So, for me, I went I'm gonna learn it, and then I'm going to cut costs and kind of do it myself. So I learned pretty much every stage of marketing and media since the age of probably about 16. So kind of as I'm learning these skills, I didn't realize I was building value in myself. I'm just trying to help myself essentially just get to the next point. And then people like you started seeing value in what I was doing. I didn't never see it as a skill, as a commercial skill that I had been acquiring this whole time. I even went to school to be an audio engineer, but I didn't think about the marketing side that I was learning or the video side that I was learning simultaneously. So from that point on, I went to go work as a producer. I felt like I've always been a producer throughout my life. Yeah,
because you produced me in a bunch of different ways, whether it was flipping my go-kart over or doing my first track to try to get a radio gig. You did that for me. You've been producing your entire life. That's just part of it.
Right. And this was huge for me this year because I realized like what I am essentially is a producer.
Exactly.
Like even though I'm working on my album, I'm producing the album. I'm orchestrating the engineers with the musicians, and I had always been doing that. I started this group called Home Team even back in high school, and I was orchestrating. So but once I understood like, okay, this has value, then I stepped outside of just doing it for myself and really said, hey, let me go try to help people, do this stuff and kind of show them the framework for how it's done.
Was it that first bit of success with somebody else that said, you know what, maybe I could just do this full time, I can make it happen? Or was it the push of maybe your wife, Sarah? Because I know Sarah from the beginning, whether it was stage manager, roadie, making sure you had the right outfit on. She was gonna make sure to push that entire thing. So I'm guessing that it was a combination of all of it.
I think who you choose as a partner is huge. It's probably one of the most important things that you can do, even it's in starting a business. It's the partner that you have within it, and then the partner that you have within your relationship. Because if you win in business and your marriage is failing, what really have you earned?
What's the win?
What's the win? We're trying to win, and I think all of us as men, we trying to obtain that, and I think y'all have done that well.
Yeah, I mean, that's a great pivot because of what I was going to say is, we oftentimes hear people say something about equally yoked. I think that people oftentimes just say your marriage needs to be equally yoked at home, doing the dishes.
Right.
But business, some relationships depend on how your business works. Me and Derek have been in business forever. Right. And I would say that we are equally yoked, but we complete each other in the business world on different sides. You know what I'm saying? I mean, Derek, you can talk about this.
Right.
So.
Yeah.
I always tell people, like, when you're doing a partnership, it's like a marriage. We have assets together, so if we break up, like, we got to unravel a whole bunch of stuff. So it's just like a marriage. And when you're looking for a business partner, you definitely have to make sure that y'all compatible, that y'all have one person has strengths, while the other person has weakness, and vice versa. So it comes together, and y'all can build something great.
And I talked to Ray about how he started and like kind of where the idea came from, but you in a totally different lane, but it's still all entrepreneurship. So what made Derek Wells say, you know what, let's try to do something on the brokerage side. Let's try to have our own thing. Let's try to bring in other real estate agents, teach, show people how to make this money. I mean, where did they even come from? I know, but I want the people to know.
It kind of migrated. So we were at Remax Fines Properties. Yeah, we started there. We were doing real estate. That's where I first got in the game. Then we decided to leave there and go to a different broker.
And when you say we,
so it was me and Charles. We started my brother,
Charles is your older brother. Yeah,
we started real estate together.
Yeah, okay.
So we started the Wells team.
The Wells team. Come on.
So that's where we started. That was the beginning of it. So we started the Wells team. I was working full time still. Yeah. So working full time. Charles, he had just got out the military, so he started full time as an entrepreneur in real estate. So we were doing it together. Started at Remax Fine Properties. That was going good. We were looking for something a little bit different. So then we moved to another Remax company. Right. Still really didn't have what we were looking for. So we said, you know what, let's just go out and start our own thing. Yeah. So then we started Wells and Blue. Okay. And the way it got Wells and Blue was eventually Candace came on to the team. Candace Blue. Okay. Who is the owner of Next Home Elite Advisors. One of the owners of Next Home Elite Advisors.
Houston Luxury Living.
And Houston Luxury Living is her team. Yeah. So we spin off. At that time, my wife was teaching.
Okay, Amanda.
Yep. And she was like, I love teaching, but I need something different. We love
the kids, but we...
And she was getting burned out. Let me just be real. So then she went and got her license. Right. We rolled off and we started Wells and Blue. So it was me, Charles, Amanda, my wife, and Candace. Yeah. And we were just operating for about a year, just us four, and just doing real estate. Then a couple agents were like, hey, we really see what you're doing. We really we want to be a part of it. So we were like, at first we were like, nah, we good. We just gonna we gonna just do our four. We just gonna be good. But then, we were like, okay, let's explore the idea. So we started bringing on agents, started mentoring them, and it just pretty much started growing from there. And it's been...
I like this conversation because what this does is it kind of tells people like you got to start from somewhere.
Yeah, you got to start
right. Whether you Ray and Sarah, whether you Derek, Amanda, Charles, and Candace, the start has to come from somewhere, and then it's something that it's something in you that says, "Hey, it's time to move." Yeah, right? Exactly. Ray was doing one thing; it was time to move. I know for a fact that his wife was working full time at some point. The business started to move; it was time to move. Yeah. Amanda was a teacher at some point. Hey, it's time to move. And I think that's really important. So, Ray, how would you tell people to know? Like, is it somebody knocks on your door and say, Ray, you need to quit your job. You need to start, Speaker Box Media. You need to be a rapper. You know what I'm saying? Like, how do you know when it's that time to move?
Yeah, time to move. And I'm assuming we're talking about the move from like corporate.
Yeah, the move from corporate to doing your own thing.
I mean... I can only speak for myself.
Yeah.
Because I knew as a person who it just loves to work. Like I watch videos of people working. Like I like to work.
Yeah.
But when I couldn't get out of the bed in the morning, like that's when I knew like something is seriously wrong. Like I couldn't physically do it anymore. But when I got home at night, I'm accelerating, you know, doing the stuff exactly. Yeah. So for me, it was a gradual step down. It was going from full-time first to part-time and then part-time contract. And I think a lot of people, there's a lot of information out there on this, jump straight off. Right. That doesn't work for everybody. It doesn't. You know, and I don't think that's the route to go when you're first getting into business. Right. Because you might. It took me, I got about 10 DBAs with Fort Bend County. I got it right on number 10. Right. So what if, you know, if someone would have told me jump off on number 1 or 2, then I'd be in trouble right now. You know?
Exactly. Yeah, that's real.
So I tell people, 1, you start full time, you get home 6 o'clock, cut off the TV, work from 7 to 11. That's and that's your first. You got to go part time.
Right.
First with your own company as your full time. Yeah. Keep your capital going, because if you jump off too soon and you don't have capital to continue to invest into yourself and then into your business, then you're going to stifle the growth of your business. You're probably gonna go out of business pretty fast.
Right. Yeah. And I know, let me just clarify for a second. I know most people tune in to Sharks of Real Estate and they think that all we gonna talk about is real estate. Yeah. This is not what this podcast is just about. I love real estate. Y'all all know that I do real estate. I will always have people on here that talk about real estate. But there are different aspects of real estate, obviously entrepreneurship, that we all need to know about. And this information is key to whatever you're going to do to be successful. I don't care what it is. You can learn something from both of these people who have been successful, who have businesses that are thriving right now in a pandemic. Right. I want you to learn something. So don't think, when are they going to start talking about real estate? Just listen. We gonna pull some stuff out. I'm going to tell you. So, D, when you came in, that's Derek, is for y'all who is like, who is D? All right. So Derek, when you came in, just like Ray is saying, like it's not always about jumping straight off. I know that you were at EY, good job. You had potential growth. You could have been a partner at some point, 8 years. I don't know the time frame, but at some point you like, let me just try to do my own thing. I can make it. You didn't jump off like that either. I'm gonna tell my story. But you didn't jump off. You kind of took the same path as Ray, right?
Yeah. So I've always been an entrepreneur. So I mean,
serial entrepreneur.
Yeah, I mean, we started business in college. Showboys. I mean, so I've always had the entrepreneur spirit. Yeah. But you're right. A lot of times people just kind of want to jump off into it, and like you said, Ray, I don't recommend that, because you have to build a foundation. Like the things I learned at EY were instrumental for me being as good as in business that I am now. Right. And same things when I was at Plain and working in oil and gas accounting there. But you have to build a foundation. You have to make sure. I had 2 kids at the time, so I can't just say, hey, I'm out of here. Yeah. You know, I got to make sure I have money set aside in case things go wrong, which we definitely had some hiccups our first couple of years. And then 2, you have to have entrepreneurship is not for everybody. Exactly. And I know for some people that's hard to hear, but there is a certain amount of work ethic that you have to be an entrepreneur.
You're going to work more being an entrepreneur than you did at your 9 to 5.
For sure. And I knew I had the work ethic because I would come home from 9 to 6 and then come home and work for another 4 or 5 hours.
You were already part time in your business.
Exactly. So if that's something that you're not willing to do, then entrepreneurship probably ain't for you, because it's not gonna be a 9 to 6 type job. Right. You're gonna have to we work sometimes around the clock. But on the flip side, if we want to go on vacation, we want to go to Mexico for a week, we go. So a lot of time, but most of the time when people see entrepreneurs, entrepreneurship, they see the good side of it.
Oh yeah.
And they don't see the bad side.
Exactly.
And I would say, just to jump in, kind of what both of y'all took off, is y'all still have different stories on how you left and like the path that you took. Mine was different. I was one of those people when I got into real estate. Derek, you know this. Ray, you know this. It kind of took off in the first couple of months.
Yeah.
So I could have technically left my job like right away.
Right.
But I told Jessica, hey, I want to save up enough money to where when I leave, it'll be my same salary that I was making when I was teaching. That was what I wanted to do. It just so happened that it happened in 2 months. And then just so happened after that, the school pissed me off and I said, you know what, I'm going to go buy my Jaguar and turn in my keys. So, and I remember people at the school being like, you sure you want to quit? Man, you probably going to be back here teaching. And I was looking at them like, are you serious? You must don't know AT. I talk in third person a lot. I was telling them that. Really, like you really don't know me because once I leave here, I ain't coming back. I'm going to tell you right now. So, I just think for everybody listening, just know that it's different paths to get to where you want to go, right? So moving forward, right, y'all have had a lot of transition here in the last year and a half. You just sold a house, right? How was that being in the market that we're in now? How was selling the house, owning a business, figuring out exactly what you want to do, wife getting ready to go full time? How did you beat that stress?
Oh,
and I was your real estate agent, so I know, right? I talk to Sarah a lot. I'm looking at Sarah. Y'all don't know Sarah here right now.
It was one of the most stressful points in my life.
Yeah.
Like December was brutal. I mean, the move, selling, we were literally at the house till the last minute moving stuff out. But it was also one of the biggest years of my life, biggest months of my life, I should say. Because, thanks to your brother, Charles, the Wells Group in general, we bought our first house and Charles is always, it's an investment. And that's hard to get into people first time home really buyers, mindset, but to walk away, with, capital it was just amazing to me, because coming from a renting world to actually selling a house and then having,
nest egg, basically.
Right. 50, I'll just say, $50,000, just from something I had been paying on investing in over the course of 5 years, paid off, so it was this balance. So yes, to answer your question, but to beat the stress of that, I really had to lean on my wife and she came on board, and took that leap a little sooner because growth, people think they don't understand that growth has its challenges.
Right.
Everyone wants to grow, but you have to, as Derek said, you have to be building a foundation, or that boat gonna start to bow.
Exactly.
And pretty soon it's gonna break. So, but she came in and just helped me straighten everything out as much as we could. I mean, even with her on now, we're working still around the clock.
And that's how it goes. Like I said, you work more being an entrepreneur than you do when you work for somebody else.
Right.
Because if you want your ship to move, you're gonna have to put in the work. You know what I'm saying?
That and keep and faith. I'm a big believer in Christ and things like that. Praying, staying strong in my faith, and also health, spirit, mind, and body.
Exactly.
So you got to keep those three things in balance, no matter what. Even on your schedule should reflect spirit, mind, and body. So anytime I'm off, I know maybe I'm off on the spirit, maybe I'm off on the body, maybe I'm not eating right. So keeping all those things in balance is top.
I got that quote gonna be on social media.
I gotta keep all those things. I gotta keep them all in balance.
So it's crazy. So, and I love the fact they want, they got to hear about real estate. So I'm gonna talk about real estate a little bit. When you were going through the process, because I think you had an amazing real estate agent. I don't know his name, but
I heard he was
When you going through that process, how is it when somebody's explaining to you, hey, this is what we're gonna list at, and I'm asking you this because I'm asking Derek a question about this market right now, right? And this person's like, hey, this is what we should list at. This is get your best bang for the buck. This is how the appraisals work. Is all of that a little bit confusing from a first time seller of a house?
I think throughout the process with you guys, like we were educated because we bought our house with Charles, who educated us on what to expect 5 years from then, and then we got educated just with you hearing the information you put out and everything. So that combined, we had a good picture of like where we should be at. Look at what other homes are selling around you, that kind of thing. But I also think it was also knowing that this is an investment, and I think we need to get out of this to get the most out of this investment. Right now is the time to sell. So just it wasn't too challenging for us. I think we kind of knew what we got more. I think we got 2,000 over asking, which was great, but we knew worst case scenario, we knew best case scenario. But again, it to what real estate agent you get, and some of them are just gonna get you the house, not educate you, not have time to educate you.
Exactly.
But I think what I love about you guys, it was a very high touch, and we understood everything from front to back.
Being an agent, I think it's really important to try to keep it as fluid as possible, and give people worst case, best case scenario, and let them judge for themselves. Because Derek, I know that a lot of time when I came into the game, both you and Amanda went on listening appointments with me. We sat down. Hey, how should I talk to this person about this house? And I know that sometimes with some of these people selling these houses, they don't understand what we trying to tell them. They might have a house that only should be listed at 200,000 and they trying to list at 300. How do you go into a conversation with somebody, first time seller like Ray was, and saying, hey, we need to be here, but you want to be here? It could be a big deal. You know what I'm saying?
So my approach is I always let the data tell the story. That takes me out of being the bad guy. So if I'm going on a listing appointment and say we selling a house in Terra and Richmond, so I'll just use that example. And I'll run the comps, meaning I'll look at that neighborhood, look for similar houses, similar square footage, similar bedroom, bathrooms, and see what those homes sold at. Then I'll get pictures of those homes because they're on MLS, and I'll show them to the seller. This home is 1,700 square foot. Your home is 1,700 square foot. This is what this home sold for. All these three homes for 1,700 square foot sold for $220. You want 300. So what about your home is going to warrant somebody paying $80,000 more when they can go right around the corner and buy the same square footage for this price?
But I've just painted my house.
This house is painted too. This house looks, but people began to realize, like, and you got people that just totally allow, totally unreasonable. That's what they want, and sometimes you and me both, we turn down listing appointment because if you have unrealistic expectation, and that's in anything, and definitely with selling the house, it's gonna be a waste of your time and mine.
And just to sometimes save the relationship.
Exactly.
I mean, I have turned down, I have removed my sign the day before a listing is gonna go up and say, you know what, this is not gonna work out. I mean, it'll just be better for me to step away because I don't need that money. True, Let me just step away. And
you ain't gonna make the money. You ain't gonna make because ain't nobody gonna buy the house.
Nobody gonna sell. I mean, it's just crazy. So I like that we went that direction because, Ray, like with what you're doing, sometimes you got to know when to say no, and sometimes you got to know when to say yes. I'm pretty sure that you guys have gotten offered a lot of opportunities in the businesses that you've started. How did you decide what to say no to and what to say yes to?
A lot of people might disagree with this, but I want to do business with people that I could potentially be friends with. Like, and I know, there's, pluses and minuses to that, but I gotta like you, like, because we have long-term contracts with our clients. So, I will turn down a contract if I have to deal with the headache that comes along with that contract, because it sends me back into that space that I was in before I got into entrepreneurship. And I think that's one of the great things about, being, head of company is you can pick your clients, you can create your own culture.
Yeah, you're not relying on just a contract that somebody brings and say, hey, this is your
and you got to do it no matter what. You're account manager and you got to handle this account, you know, which I think early on that's good because you learn to deal with difficult clients. That's why if you, people, I don't knock my time in corporate. I think it built up a lot of things in me that helped me to survive right now, especially on the administrative side. Yeah. But you got to learn how to deal with difficult people. You got to learn how to have difficult conversations. Yeah. So I'm not saying turn down everyone that's not your friend. Right. Yeah. But you're trying to create a culture around your company. And a lot of people, when they think culture, it's all internal. But when I bring on a client, that's a partner now. Right. We're partnering to help you achieve whatever it is, and you're partnering with me. It has to be a mutual relationship.
And you guys really do meetings in the beginning of the year. I mean, me and you and Sarah had a meeting along with Alexis. Shout out to Alexis. She does a lot of the booking for the show. Right. We literally had a Zoom meeting where everybody could see each other and say, hey, this is what we want to do this year. These are my goals. These are the things that I want to try to accomplish. And then you become a partnership in getting to those goals. So I think that's really important that y'all do that.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. When we made or had money put aside for different things like marketing and different outreaches that we wanted to do, we made the decision early on that we were going to invest in the customer experience. Yeah. So what that meant was, one, a better studio space, apps, applications, more touches with our clients, and investing into our customer experience rather than into billboards and ads. Gotcha. Because we don't want to serve cold plates. We want to make sure that we're giving the clients what they want, because a lot of times clients will stay silent on you. They won't tell you what's wrong.
Yeah, they not all like me. I'm like, Ray, I don't like that. We ain't doing that no more.
Right. That's it. Real time. But that's great because I love that, because that's what drives innovation for our company, at least, is customer feedback. Right. They really will help you stay ahead on a lot of things like that I don't see. Even now, being in this seat, like I'm thinking about things different. How can I make this better for the customer, not myself?
A customer experience.
A customer experience.
Yeah. And I think that goes along with real estate. And this is why this is so important. Yeah. Having people from different genres, but still entrepreneurship, because customer experience is pretty much what a real estate agent does. Exactly. Even if I don't know all the information about a $2 million house, if you can go to that house, have a great time with your real estate agent, get some of the information, hey, I can get back to you on this. The customer experience is what's going to make that person say, man, I love my agent. Oh, yeah. Right? Yeah. So, Derek, and I know you deal with this a lot, whether it's taking somebody to go see a $100,000 house or a $1 million house, everything in between is all about how that client feels when they walk in that house with you or when they ask you a question. Do you feel like customer experience is really big in our business?
Absolutely. Because regardless of the amount of house that you're buying, that's, for most people, that's the biggest asset that they're gonna buy. Yeah. They may buy a couple houses, down the road, but they want somebody that they know intellectually, they know what they're doing, and that's going to make their experience amazing. And that's what we focus on as real estate agent, educating the buyer or the seller on, how this process goes, what to look forward to. And in our standpoint, one thing that I like about real estate is we help people build their future. Exactly. So I was just listening to Ray, and he was saying, when Charles was helping him buy a house, he was like, this is going to be an investment. Y'all going to buy this. Y'all going to stay here for X amount of time, and then y'all can sell it and make X amount of money. And then that's what they did. And, Sarah was able to go full time. They were able to make some good money. And that's kind of my story. Like when I was 23, 24, I wanted to buy a house, and Amanda was like, I want to rent. I don't want to buy right now. I'm like, no, we buy a house.
The orange wall.
With the orange wall. I'm like, we about to buy a house. I'm not throwing away this money. Yeah. 4 years later, we sell that house. I make about 50, 60,000.
Yeah, I remember.
And then we were able to start flipping. Took that money. Okay, now we got enough money. You can go full time. Yep. Now we got enough money. I can go full time. So had we not bought that house, we might not be sitting here today.
Exactly.
You know what I'm saying? So,
because I probably wouldn't either.
Yeah. That's
I'm so glad y'all bought that. Goodness gracious, I'm glad they bought that.
But people don't and that's why I try to educate my, especially buyers and young buyers, like whether, because
hold on, I don't want to cut you off, but it's something that you have said, and I love when you say it. You buy a house, I rent a house. Go to do the story.
Oh, when I was talking to the guy.
Yeah.
So we were at I think it was a conference or E100 panel, and we were talking about real estate, and the guy was telling me, he was asking me, does it make sense to rent and then just try to buy investment properties? And I said, well, I don't think it's an and or. You can buy a property that you live in and buy investment property. And he was like, no, I think it's better to rent. I'm like, okay, let me give you a scenario. And I had already told my story, so they kind of knew where I was going with it. But I told them in 2011, I buy a house for $150. 4 years later, I sell it for $200.
Yeah.
Made $50,000. In that same 4 year period, let's say you rent for easy math at $1,000, which you can't find nothing at $1,000 now. But for 4 years, you would have spent $48,000 in rent.
Yeah.
How much of that money you getting back?
None.
Crickets. He have no answer.
The whole room was it was one of my favorite moments. I still think I got it on video. It was
How much of that money you getting back? Zero.
Yeah.
When I sell my house, how much am I getting back?
50 grand.
50 grand.
Yeah.
And I'm able to take that 50 grand and either buy another house, go start a business, go do whatever I want to do.
Right.
And we both doing the same thing. We both living in a place.
Yeah.
I got a house, you got an apartment. You know what I'm saying? So that is understanding how to create wealth.
Right. And it technically can be generational wealth. I mean,
exactly.
Me and Derek own properties together. Our kids can have those properties later on. Me and Derek were actually gonna hold on to a property that we have right now. You know what? Let's sell it and make 60 grand. Put it into the company. Pay for another business that we're working on. Yeah, that's creating generational wealth. Right. Literally using that 60 grand to pay for another business that we're working on right now. That's the crazy thing about it. I mean, I'm dropping bombs on myself. This is crazy. So Ray, moving forward. Speakerbox Media has so much potential. I'm not good at holding in stuff.
Yeah.
So how do you wait to release things or wait to say, Sarah, we got to start telling people about this? Because that's my hard part. Because right now I got so much stuff which you know about, Derek knows about, Sarah knows about. My mama know about. I want to tell people so bad. I'm having a hard time holding some of this stuff in. You know what I'm saying? And it's not necessarily because it's for me. It's because I want to give it to the people. And sometimes you just can't do it right away. With Speakerbox Media, that's your baby. You proud of it. Y'all working on hella stuff right now. How do you keep from doing this? Is Sarah saying, Ray, now if you tell these folks.
That's exactly what it is. She over there laughing. That's exactly. Man, I mean, when I get energy and happiness from creating stuff. I discovered that, that's what inspires me. Even as a kid, I was always building something, crafting it.
Yeah, you were.
Tearing stuff apart, putting it together and making something. Yeah. I just get energized from creating stuff and then having people enjoy it. Yeah. That's even with music. It's like I create it, people enjoy it. Out. Yeah. So it's hard for me in this instant gratification world that we live in, amplifying that need in me. But I would say Sarah kind of keeps me balanced in that because I'm always like, oh, I got to tell y'all. So, but I tell close friends, things that are happening, because sometimes you want to, things don't, and this might lead us to another topic. Things don't always have to be perfect. Exactly. But they have to be in a place where they're MVP. Right. Viable. Yeah. So I think there's a balance there. I think we want to roll something out when we have it to where it has a great foundation. We can see it growing. We can see it expanding. We know what it's going to be potentially, but it doesn't have to be all the way completed.
So that's good. You
said in that.
Yeah, what you gonna say, dude?
So a few things I got from that. Number one, You're right. You can't share your dream with everybody because everybody don't have your vision.
Yeah.
Oh man.
You know what I'm saying? So, I was talking to my mom when I wanted to go full time. I love my mama. But she was like, you going full time? You don't need to leave that good job. That's their generation.
And then your mama even asked me, where y'all finding these people?
Where y'all finding all these people buying these houses? And I'm like, mama, I got a plan.
Good,
But and my mama loved me, of course. She wants to see the best for me, but she from a different generation that doesn't understand the risk that we willing to take to get to where we want to go. Back in that generation, you got a good 9-to-5 job. You make good
you didn't
money with benefits
because that means you wouldn't work.
Exactly. Right. So one, you have to be careful on who you share your dreams and ambitions with, and then two, we see people all the time. Oh, I'm gonna do this. 6 months later, they still doing the same thing. And then you start to lose your credibility because you just looked at it as the person that they come up with these good ideas. I'm a do person. Don't execute nothing, but you gonna do everything.
We know a lot of them.
So yeah. So that's the one thing that I would say. Like, if you have a desire to do something, build your foundation. Like we're talking about, build your foundation first. Bounce it off you would tell me, hey D, I got this idea. I'd be like, I don't know about that one. Honestly, that's a fantastic idea. Like, know who your circle is, know who you can confide in that's gonna build you up, that you got confidence in, that's gonna give you solid and sound advice. Lean on those, and once you get to a place where you built your foundation, then you can start rolling out and telling people, hey, I'm doing X, Y, and Z. And you get a lot of people too, like you said, that they want everything perfect.
Right.
Yeah. And I see that especially with a lot of musicians. They're like, hey, I can't drop this music because it ain't perfect. Like, it ain't gonna never be perfect.
Man, I'm gonna tell you, cause right on me, I'm like, I don't want it aesthetically to look perfect because then it's not genuine. You know what I'm saying? Right. And I'm gonna tell you, one of the big things with me is I'm really big on being strategic because I like placements. And I'm gonna tell you, the Sharks of Real Estate is for a purpose, right? It's not we just not doing this podcast for nothing. Y'all will see things start to come to the podcast on purpose. There are things that's coming in 2021, 2022 that have everything has a place, but you have to have a plan to roll it out. I think that's really important. I love that we talking about that because, like I said, a lot of people see the success, but then they don't know that it was strategic steps to get here. You know what I'm saying? I think that's important because a year ago, if you look back, AT was doing 2-minute videos in my office. Ray was recording saying, go. Yeah. Now we doing the Sharks of Real Estate podcast. And after this podcast is going to be something else introduced on this podcast that will lead into something else. Right. So I think that's really important. I also started off on the wholesale side. Now we flipping. Now we own properties. Now we doing other businesses. So it's always a path that you have to take. I mean, it's going to be a fork in the road at some point, but you got to take a path to get there. Yeah. Absolutely. So moving forward, right? Where do you see Speaker Box Media going?
Man, I feel like people have seen 25% of like where, I want to take it. Yeah. But to not give too much, I think it's going to be one of the largest podcasting companies in the world
and media, podcasts and media,
Yeah, absolutely. I think next for us is finding a way to productize a lot of our services. Gotcha. One being an application. I think you should always be trying to push a service business into a application, in this day and age, and productize it. So getting our systems and processes first, and then finding a way to productize that through an application.
Gotcha. I apologize. Yeah. So when it comes to like putting stuff into a package, I'm real big on a la carte, right? Like if I want to choose this, can I just do this? If I want to choose this, can I just do this? Or if I want all of it, it can be all encompassed in one big package. How do you feel about stuff like that when it comes to the media business? Because Speaker Box Media, you have the podcast, you have the video, you have the editing, you have the sound. Like, I mean, I could just keep on going and going. So I think that's really big on being a la carte, or is it just we only do all or nothing?
all isn't always the best word, because when you have all and you're doing everything, you're not going to be doing your one thing great. So you see a lot of businesses, that they're doing one thing, maybe that's making coffee, but then they want to start making, sandwiches and producing other stuff. And then their coffee falters,
exactly.
Exactly. So I think you have to gradually build. I mean, McDonald's starts off with just hamburgers, perfected hamburgers. And then let's add fries. And then let's do hot dogs, or not hot dogs, whatever else they, chicken nuggets. Yeah. So I think, a la carte is great. And I think that's where we want to get to, even with building these applications. And that's the core reason of why we want to do that. But, you have to have teams that just do video. You have to have teams that just do audio, teams that focus on each certain market offering that we have. Right. So what I would say to someone listening to this is to start with one thing. First, we perfected audio. We said we're going to do audio absolutely good. We're going to systematize it, then move into video. Instead of coming in saying, hey, guys, we do everything. And then, something is going to some fall to the wayside. Right.
And it's I love that because it moves you into on a bigger scale, right, of how you do multiple businesses. And Derek, you got multiple businesses. You got the real estate practice, right? You got some other stuff coming out that we're not gonna quite mention yet. We're gonna have a whole nother episode on that. But you got that. Then you have the flipping side. Then you still do your own accounting for a lot of your stuff. I mean, I don't even understand it. And then not to mention the brokers that you run. And like, how do you do that?
So it's really is having good friends that tell me, hey, bro, you're going to have to leverage other people's time, leverage other people's resources so you can get all this done. And that's one thing I'm working on. So one thing, and just kind of my personality, I get to a point where I'm like, oh, I need to do it, or it's not going to be done right. You know what I'm saying? Like, I got people like you or Amanda, like people that I know I hand this to is going to be done solid. And thank God we got Wendy. Shout out to Wendy. She is absolutely amazing. So it's just adding people to your team. So and that's kind of my main goal this year, to add people to my team where I can leverage their time and I can focus a little bit more on big picture and have other people helping me execute the vision that we creating, that I'm creating. Because when you get caught in the weeds, a lot of times you can't step back and see big picture. And I struggle with that. Like, I get caught in the weeds because I'm an accountant. So I'm used to being in the details in the weeds.
And see, that's never been really one of my problems because as I always tell people, I'm a yellow personality. So I'm big picture. I'm like, hey, we're gonna create these businesses. We're gonna have somebody running each one of them, and then this is what we're gonna do. But Derek, like, all right, so who gonna run this one, and who gonna run?
And that's why we work so well together, because Avery be big picture, and I'll be like, okay, these are all the steps we got to create the big picture you create.
When I think about business, what helped me to understand like what y'all are talking about was because I come from the basketball world as well. I was your typical African American black kid rapping and playing basketball, man. But if you want to break it down like this, look at the way the NBA is set up. You have owners, you have coaches, and players. You got to decide which one of those you want to be. You can be a player and still own a business, but you have to know what your role is. If you're a coach, you can't be stepping on the court. Let your players play. You draw up the plays, which are the systems.
Come on now, Ray, that coach.
That's
right. Now, Avery, what he just explained, he's an owner. He's like, I see this. He's a Tillman Fertitta of the Rockets. I need this play. I need this coach. He's recruiting those people. But where people go wrong is because they come from shooting the ball and to being an owner is they're stepping on the court. They keep stepping on the court. So meanwhile, you're not hiring the right people. You gotta. And if you look at the way recruiting is even set up, it's the same. It's the same exact kind of things where it's not always about getting the high ticket player. Right. We see that all the time. You can get the best players on the team, but they won't win a championship.
They won't win. Westbrook.
So, it's a combination of the coach, the plays that they write up, and just the culture in general. You can go get a kid from the middle of nowhere who just is hungry and, comes out of nowhere and is your best player. Right. So that's kind of how I approached, business, is always thinking like, I got to get off the court, and sometimes you got to be a coach for a minute. Sometimes you do but you got to get your team in place and recruit the right players. Yeah. Or you're not, when it comes game time, you're going to get pulverized.
Yeah, it's not going to work. That's wild.
I'm going to steal that.
Sometimes you got to get off the court.
Yeah, sometimes you got to get off the court.
Man, I'm going to use that. I just used it because we on right now. But I like that though, because good. I mean, it's realistic, right? So it's a lot of people that still want to work in their business versus running their business. And at some point you got to back out, and you got to have the processes set up to make sure that your business runs efficiently.
Or hire an owner, or hire a coach.
Right.
People do that. You'll see a CEO step down and say, "Hey, that person's more fit. I just want to sit here and create." Yeah, you can do that, but just know, like, that's your new role.
Yeah, know the role that you
let that dude lead.
But how do you know? How do you know when it's time to do that though? Like, that's the hard part, I think, for like Derek. Like where we are right now, we have a few successful businesses, right? People kind of know some of them, people kind of don't know some of them, but we have a few successful businesses. And for me, it's not hard. I'm gonna just tell you.
Avery is a delegate.
But Derek is a little bit harder, and I have to sometimes tell Derek, this is where it's good to have a good partner, right? You can talk to him and say, Derek, sit your ass down, bro. Let's just chill. Let's go on vacation. Let somebody else do that. You know what I'm saying? How do you know though?
Man, dude, how do you know it's when to hire?
Yeah,
man, that is it's a balance, man. You gotta,
because I know for a fact at some point, because I was probably one of the first clients, you were booking,
right?
You were doing the camera, you were doing audio, you were doing the editing. Now you don't book.
Right.
Now you don't do some of the editing. Now you don't do all of the camera work. Like, how did you know that it was time?
When I have to start redoing, when it gets repetitive, when I'm doing the same thing over and over again. So for me in the media world too, it's really easy to write my systems because I just record my processes using Loom. Or I'm writing them out.
Okay, now listen, somebody write that down.
I was taking a minute.
Yeah. So the way people learn is through YouTube right now. Even if you go to a traditional college right now, you're learning through YouTube. So what Loom does is it allows you to do screen recordings of your screen as well as yourself. So what we do with our processes and procedures is we have a database in Loom where it shows how to edit a video. It shows, to my standard,
right?
Right. And once I get that systematized, and to go back to say when I know it's ready to go is when it's repetitive for me, because I can't do repetitive things. It's not that I don't like. I'll do it 2 or 3 times the same way, and then on that 4th time I'm just like,
can't do it.
I can't focus on it, and that's when I know it's time to give it to someone else. And when there's a process attached to that, because most people who have that personality, a player's personality that can do something repetitively over a long course of time, need processes. They need a framework. So, but yeah, I think it's for my personality as an owner. I think it's when it gets repetitive because I'm not playing to my full capacity. Yeah.
And see, for me, it's more so when it starts to take money away from something else. Like my time nowadays in 2021 is really valuable, right? So if I'm taking time to do something, at some point, sometimes it's taking money away from something else, and AT like money. So if I'm doing something that somebody else could be doing and I could be making money while they're doing that, okay, it's time for me to give this up. And D, I mean,
I agree. I mean, when it started taking, I had the epiphany when I started when I was doing too much administrative stuff and I wasn't generating revenue, because that's how we eat. If we ain't out making money and getting clients and making sales, I mean, the accountant might be good, but ain't nothing to account for. So that was my aha moment. And then really just trying to create better work-life balance. I realized like, hey, I'm working too much. Avery, sit your down somewhere. You're working too much. Okay, let me figure out a way to create more balance.
Yeah, let's go
leverage other people's time so I can have more time to spend with the kids, with the wifey, with the
I'm glad that you brought that up because I want the next thing and I know we probably going a little long, but I had so much stuff I wanted to ask y'all about, like personally, right? How do you do the work life balance when you're an entrepreneur? We already said you're gonna work more when you're an entrepreneur. And you work with your wife, you work with yours. I don't work with mine, but like, how do you do it? Like, I mean, I know you got 3 boys that love to do stuff. Dion playing soccer. You got Daniel who loves to be around his mom. You got Donovan. I just love Donovan. That's my boy. How do you do it?
I think it's different based on where you at in your business.
Right.
Starting your business is hard.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna lie, because that's typically when you have to put in you typically being the coach, the player, the owner, because you don't make enough money to hire those people. Right. So you gotta do everything.
Exactly.
But you have to look at I always look at my life in seasons. And I always try to tell Amanda this. I was like, right now we in a grind time. Like let's just grind. It's not gonna be fun. We ain't gonna be able to do a whole bunch, but it's gonna pay off.
Right.
We went through that season. Then after that season, we started making money. We had to start to put people in place.
Right.
And then we started leveraging other people's time so we can get our time back.
Exactly.
And once you're able to build that, then you're able to create a lot more balance in your life. And that's why I said entrepreneurship is not for everybody, because if you can't go through that season of just grinding,
then it's not gonna work.
Then it may not work. Yeah. But I take my hat off to you though, because you figure out a way that I mean, I don't ever remember you going through a season where it's like Jessica was like, I don't see you. The kids like, I don't see. Like, you have always been able to create success with a great work-life balance. Yeah. So you probably need to answer. You might be the one to answer that, right? You can probably answer it better for me.
I'm gonna tell you. So like the big thing with me is that I can't do nothing unless I'm having fun. So once I stop having fun at doing whatever it is, I'm not going to do it anymore. And then plus, like I'm a people pleaser, now to a point. But when I say a people pleaser, not everybody, because I care less about what most people think. But I love to see my wife happy. I like to see the kids having fun. I like to see my friends having fun. So like for me, it stressed me out when Derek's stressing out about certain stuff. I'm like, bro, let's just go on vacation. Let's just go. Let's just go for a weekend. I say something like that. Or before the pandemic, bro, let's just go get a section somewhere and take the girls out and get some drinks. And I mean, we could do it. Why not? Right. So I will always take the time to say, I'm going to turn up. I'm going to still be AT. I'm going to do what I want to do. But my clients will still be taken care of, but I also leverage the people around me. Transaction coordinators. We all know Ariana. I'm not sitting down writing the contract for 2 hours. It's just not something that I'm going to do. Wendy. I love Wendy. She puts contracts into the system. I'm not sitting down and taking an hour to put all of that stuff into the system. Now, client relations, that's me. Clients need me, but they can contact you anywhere. You can hit me when I'm in Mexico. You can text me when I'm about to get on a plane. You could hit me when I get off the plane. But I'm going to go. I'll see you when I get back. I can answer all your questions on the phone. Now, it's a little bit different when your wife is like, you always on the phone. Would you rather me be on the phone or you rather me be here? Right. Yeah. So, that's the balance that I've always created. But plus, I'm not answering no phone at 8 o'clock at night. AT go to sleep about 10 o'clock. Yeah. So, and sometimes earlier. Yeah. So I also set a lot of boundaries.
That's good.
I work out at 7:15. I'm usually not even on the phones until 9. If you calling me at 8 o'clock at night, you're probably not gonna get an answer. Now, I mean, it's a select few, right? So like, but you're more than likely you're not gonna get an answer. So I mean, that's always been the balance with me. And then Ray, you and Sarah work together. Like now, even more so than before. How different is it? Like working together, spouse, hand in hand, trying to run a business, making sure that the people around you are taken care of, hiring people, agreeing on that. Aesthetically, Sarah, I want the studio to look like this. No, I want the studio to look like. I mean, it's a lot that go into that.
Man, I think it's by God's design because we fit each other so well. Where I'm weak at, she's strong at. And not to say we're perfect. I think with communication and things like that is where I struggle as, just being more introverted and, she'll get to a problem. I always say this, she'll get to a problem that I'm having faster than I can myself.
She blushing over there.
She can help me dissect where I'm at. Yeah. But what I noticed when she wasn't in the business, she just didn't know what the core problems was, and I couldn't articulate them.
And say she would probably say, "Let me know how I can help."
Right, and I'm just like, you don't see how you can help, but I'm in it 24/7, right? Versus a person who gets there and sees it for 2 or 3 hours a day or on the weekends. It's just different, and plus the company is changing rapidly because of technology. So she was like, "You're offering something completely different than you were 3 months ago. Right. Where are we at?" So, but now with her being on, she's able to see things in real time. She's able to monitor the email. But we opened up communication. She has access to my email. We have a joint calendar, that kind of thing.
Man, that calendar saved my life. I'm gonna tell you, you don't have no calendar with your significant other and you thinking about being an entrepreneur, you need to download one or use your Apple Calendar now. And I know y'all use Calendly to set up appointments, to do the whole 9 yards, and y'all both have access to that. So you know what's gonna be on the schedule. I think that's a big thing for me and Jessica. Jessica's a nurse. She works 3 days a week, 12 hours a day. She loves to know what's going on when she's at work because she has to almost disconnect because she's in a building taking care of business, frontline, working the whole 9 yards. If I did not have that calendar, I would probably be getting text messages all day like, so what you doing today? Where you at right now? And I mean, now I don't have to because you know exactly where I am. And Derek, I know you done started using the calendar.
It's essential. And I get in trouble all the time for not putting stuff in the calendar. And really for me, I definitely have to get better because we just have so much stuff going on. And if I don't have it in my calendar, I miss it. They would be like, we got this call at 10. I'll be like, ain't in my calendar.
And I'm big on, he'll tell you right now, I will be like, hey, we got this call at 10. You know what? Let me invite you to this so it'll be in your calendar. And I invite Manda too so she know what's going on. Like, let me invite both of y'all. I think that's real big.
And I'll put the onus on the other person sometimes and say, okay, you want to do that? Send me a calendar invite. That way it's not always on me. So with us being in 2021, we all know that there's a global pandemic going on. If you didn't know, look outside. I mean, just look at the
wake up.
Where do you guys see entrepreneurs specifically, not just a specific realm of entrepreneurship, but entrepreneurs period? Where do you see it going? Because I personally see, and I'll start off. I personally see this whole thing changing. If there have not been more entrepreneurs created during this small space that we're in, I don't think it's going to be no more. I mean, I think that right now is probably this is an entrepreneurship boom because people have been at home. People have gotten laid off. People are looking for what's going to be next. And they've realized that depending on somebody else to pay you is not always the best move because they can say, hey, you know what? We cutting back. Hey, you know what? It's a global pandemic. I can't pay you right now. So I'm going to just lay you off. Hey, you got to rely on the stimulus check that they telling you to save the $600, but you still need to pay your rent. I mean, so right now I see entrepreneurship, man, it's going to be amazing in the next 5 years. What has been created from the people that are entrepreneurs right now? How y'all feel about that?
Oh yeah, man. I think it's going to be hard for a lot of people to go back to work after they experience this taste of, what it's kind of like. It's like you stepped off the plantation. You want to go back. So, but I think with that, it's the educational piece has to come too. People can't fall into this trap while you're getting this money from these different sources. What happens when that really stops? Right.
Because it's gonna stop.
It's gonna stop.
Government ain't gonna keep giving you
money. So I think people listening to podcasts, reading books, that's what I would be doing right now if I just cast into that world. Like I would be just every day. Just taking in information.
I could tell you right now, D, and I want you to go too, but me and Derek have created 3 different companies during the pandemic. Wow. Like, how crazy is that? Yeah. Like, so I can only imagine what other people are out here thinking about doing or doing right now. Yeah. That we have created 3 different companies during the pandemic that have not even been released yet. Mm-hmm. Like, that's the crazy thing about it. Mm-hmm. I mean, and I'm not going to say none of the names other than Brooks and Carter Trucking. I'll say that. But the other 2, like, I mean, literally, like, came during the pandemic and we weren't even sitting around doing nothing. I mean, we had other businesses going on.
Real estate practice was booming.
Yeah. You know what I'm saying? So it's just crazy. And I think, like, man, I wonder how many other people have come up with stuff, whether in the technology world, whether in the real estate space, whether in whatever they doing. You know what I'm saying? I mean, so Derek, how do you think it's going to change?
Yeah, I think people that have the entrepreneur spirit, that has what it takes to be an entrepreneur, is going to push them to go into entrepreneurship. One, they have more time. Like, a lot of people working from home, they don't have to commute, so they have time to get their work done at work and then focus on their other business. Right. So for the people that have the discipline to and really desire to explore entrepreneurship and move in that direction, I think it just creates a plethora of opportunity for them to go in that direction. Right. But, you know, you got a segment of the population that, you know, everybody wants to be an entrepreneur. Yeah. So, I mean, let's start there. But everybody doesn't have what it takes because it's a lot of discipline. It's having a good idea, and it's a lot of discipline that is required. Yeah.
And the ideas can be good.
Yeah. But just, you know, if you don't have the right execution, you don't have the right skill set or knowledge or know how to leverage people that do. Right. You know, sometimes... I talk to people that want to do business all the time. Yeah. So that's why I kind of I say that. But it's very few people that actually has what it takes. You know what I'm saying? We get people, hey, I want to be a real estate agent. They see our success. They see the amount of money we made, the lifestyle that we have. But, you know, I get people in the brokers all the time. They start and then a year they out because they ain't see us waking up at 5 o'clock grinding. They ain't see you.
And you see the
teaching,
difference. Yeah. You see the difference. Like, we got, I mean, this agent, Roscoe. I just want to shout him out real quick. You could tell that Roscoe in the brokerage, he wants to be great.
Being a real estate. He's gonna be great because he got what it takes.
Right. You see, my mom. Big shout out to my mom, Sheila. She has a real estate agent. She's a part of the Taylor Made Group. She out here doing her thing.
She hustling.
But you could see the difference in, you know, other people that don't necessarily have that grind and what it takes. So being an entrepreneur, especially right now in the day and age that we in, this whole pandemic world, people getting laid off left and right. Oh, by the way, they supposed to be raising what is it, the minimum wage, but not until 2023. No, come on, man. I mean, if that's what you waiting on,
then
I mean, you gonna be ASL or OSL. You know what I'm saying? I mean, so I just love that we having this conversation. So, Ray, you know, closing words. We've been on here for a while. I want to know. First off, you know, we already kind of talked about what SpeakerBox Media is going, but just tell the people, give them some inspiring words, man, and just kind of let them know what you feel we should be thriving for in 2021.
Oh man, that's a lot. I know I put him on the spot, huh? Striving for, man, I think community. That's big, at least for me. Yeah. You know, being an entrepreneur, man, and being an introverted, quiet leader. I didn't place a high value on friendship. Yeah. Just didn't. Like, you know me. Like, I'll sit in my room all day, and sun up to sundown, be happy. But on the business side, your relationships, you know, it's like they say, it's not what you know, it's who you know. Yeah. And a lot of my success, 90% of my success is contributed to who I know. Yeah. But I'm not saying go out there and make friends to have some type of benefit, but on the social side of that, like, man, my community of friends and people I know have just been instrumental in just like me feeling like a human being.
Yeah, and do good business with people that you know also. I think people slack on that sometimes.
Yeah. Right. So I think just striving, and I think the pandemic slowed us down to really focus on what's important. Yeah. You know, and I think that's what's making that transition to entrepreneurship so big right now, is because people are seeing, like, you know, they're able to spend more time with their kids and more time with their friends, and things just slowed down. So for me, big this year is just like to rethink about, you know, your circle of five, who you spend the most time with.
That's good. So. And D, like, you know, with you, I mean, you have done so much and been successful from dating back all the way to high school to now. People love to hear from you, but you don't talk a lot. You don't do a lot of social media.
I'm pretty quiet and shy, believe it.
I believe it when I see it. But, you know, closing words, what would you tell the people that they need to focus their attentions on in 2021?
I would say kind of like Ray said, like this year has, for me, I've definitely been able to slow down. Yeah. And evaluate what's important to me. Mm-hmm. And that's going to look different for everybody. You know, you may not want to be entrepreneurship. You may not want to pursue entrepreneurship. You may love your job. Yeah. But you may not be you may be working so much, you're not spending time with your family. Exactly. Or you may have the ambition to want to buy a house, but you always keep on putting that to the side. Oh, I got time. Mm-hmm. Well, one thing this year showed us that tomorrow ain't promised.
It's not.
You know, we done lost 400,000 people last year. You know what I'm saying? So just living your best life and going after your dreams and ambitions, whatever that may be, and not letting other people deter you, hold you down. Don't let self-doubt get in your way. Just go for it. Yeah. And if you ain't failing at nothing, you ain't trying for nothing. Exactly. Like you should be. We done tried countless business and it failed. Mm-hmm. But had we not jumped, we wouldn't be here. Right. So that's what I would say.
Yeah. And I just want to tell both of y'all, man, I appreciate it. You know what I'm saying? Not just today, but I appreciate the friendship. I appreciate the camaraderie. I appreciate the business acumen that both of you guys have brought to what I do. You know what I'm saying? I don't think that the people watching this and the people that know us, I don't think that they realize that your circle of friends and your circle of influence can be so amazing in how it shapes your future. And my future looking real bright now because I got people like y'all involved in what I do. So if you've learned anything from today's episode, it's be who you are, be important in your own circle, and bring people in that matter. Not just people, but people that matter, and make it happen every day of your life, because tomorrow's not promised. So when you thrive for something that you want to do, make sure that you walk the walk and you talk the talk. Thank you for tuning in to the Sharks Real Estate Podcast. It's your boy AT Sold at AT Close. You know what it is. Tune in next time. We right here all the time, every time. Turn up, we is going down.